Consider, for a moment, the chilling silence that must have fallen within the opulent chambers of Chancellor Palpatine's office. The air, thick with the acrid scent of ozone and the lingering hum of shattered Force energy, held the final, desperate act of the Clone Wars suspended in time. On one side, a cowering, disfigured old man, feigning utter defeat. On the other, Master Mace Windu, his purple lightsaber held steady, the blade a beacon of singular focus in the swirling chaos. Windu had cornered the architect of the galaxy's despair. The long shadow of Darth Sidious had finally been illuminated, revealed as the very figure who had manipulated worlds, orchestrated a galactic war, and brought the Jedi Order to the precipice of ruin. This was the moment of reckoning, the culmination of a quest for truth that had consumed the Jedi for years. And in that crucial, electric instant, Master Windu declared his intention. "You are under arrest, my lord." This wasn't a declaration of vengeance, nor was it a spontaneous act of aggression. It was the utterance of a Jedi Master, a paragon of the Order, who had sworn his life to uphold peace, justice, and the rule of law. His original intention, his profound commitment, was to bring the Sith Lord to justice through the very legal and moral frameworks the Republic was built upon, frameworks the Jedi themselves were bound to protect. He aimed to arrest, to restrain, to allow the law to take its course, even against a being of such profound evil. This was Mace Windu, the steadfast guardian, adhering to the Jedi Code, even as the galaxy burned around him. Pause for a beat. Music slightly swells, then softens. But the path of a Jedi during the Clone Wars was paved with impossible choices. Mace Windu, renowned for his mastery of Vaapad, a lightsaber form that skirted the very edge of the dark side, understood the nuances of shadow better than most. He wasn't naive to the darkness, he wrestled with its echoes within himself. And yet, even he was unprepared for the sheer, unadulterated evil that was Darth Sidious. As the battle raged, as Sidious's true power manifested in torrents of Force lightning that tore through his fellow masters, Windu witnessed something far beyond mere combat prowess. He saw absolute control. He saw a being so entrenched in the dark side that it warped reality around him. And perhaps, most chillingly, he saw through the final, desperate performance of a supposedly defeated old man. Imagine the realization dawning on Windu. This wasn't just a powerful enemy. This was a being who had corrupted the very heart of the Republic, twisting its laws, its courts, its Senate into instruments of his will. For months, years even, the Jedi had been fighting a war orchestrated by a phantom menace, a war that had eroded public trust, diminished Jedi authority, and pushed them to increasingly desperate measures. Windu knew the depth of Sidious's influence. He understood that even if arrested, even if brought before a galactic senate, Sidious's web of deceit, his mastery of manipulation, would ensure his escape, his acquittal, or his re-emergence from the shadows. Justice, through conventional means, became an illusion. The Republic's legal system, the very foundation of its supposed order, was compromised beyond repair. It was in that harrowing moment, as Anakin Skywalker stood at the precipice of his own tragic fall, that Mace Windu made his final, agonizing decision. It wasn't born of anger or bloodlust, but of a cold, stark, terrible clarity. He looked at the cowering figure, saw the true face of a monster, and understood that this darkness was too vast, too insidious, to be contained by any prison or any legal precedent. To allow Sidious to live, even for a moment longer, was to condemn the galaxy to an even greater, more absolute evil. "He's too dangerous to be kept alive," Windu declared, his voice firm, unwavering. This was not a personal vendetta, it was an act of profound, desperate sacrifice. In that instant, Mace Windu chose to become an executioner, not out of desire, but out of a terrifying necessity. he was forced to abandon the very code he lived by, to step outside the law he had sworn to uphold, because the law itself had become impotent against such overwhelming darkness. This was the tragic testament to Mace Windu's journey and the brutal reality of the war he fought. His final decision was not a lapse, but the culmination of a master's understanding that some evils cannot be contained, only extinguished. It was a reflection of the impossible moral compromises that war, especially a war of such cosmic stakes, inflicts upon even the most noble souls. Mace Windu, the embodiment of Jedi resolve, found himself in a position where upholding justice meant, paradoxically, performing an act that defied it. The justice he believed in, the justice of due process and law, had to die so that the possibility of any justice at all could survive for the galaxy. His life, and indeed his death, at the hands of a conflicted Anakin, underscored the profound tragedy of the Jedi Order's fall. Mace Windu pushed against the boundaries of his own beliefs, not for personal gain, but for the very survival of light against an encroaching, all-consuming shadow. He made the ultimate sacrifice, not just of his life, but of his own moral purity, in a desperate bid to sever the root of galactic tyranny. Mace Windu's decision was a stark, painful reminder that sometimes, in the face of absolute evil, the purest intentions and the most stringent codes are broken, not out of malice, but out of a desperate, terrifying hope. What do you think of this profound moment in Star Wars history? Was Windu justified? Or was his action the final push that sent Anakin Skywalker spiraling into the dark? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this thoughtful exploration of the choices that define heroes and villains alike. Thank you for listening.